The 8 surprising qualities of those who prefer their own company. People who choose to spend time with themselves are often misunderstood, seen as distant or detached. Yet the truth is far more powerful. Those who value their own company carry a quiet strength that others rarely notice, a resilience that comes from knowing themselves deeply and trusting their own judgment. They move through the world with calm confidence, unaffected by fleeting opinions, and their clarity of thought allows them to make decisions that align with their true purpose. Solitude isn't emptiness. It's a forge where self-awareness, independence, and emotional strength are shaped into an unstoppable force. In a world that constantly praises networking, parties, and endless socializing, those who choose their own company are often seen as outsiders, yet they hold an extraordinary advantage. Preferring solitude is not a sign of weakness or loneliness. It is a conscious act of self-respect and intentional growth. These individuals take the time to understand their values, reflect on their experiences, and sharpen their inner compass. They learn to trust their judgment, cultivate emotional strength, and focus their energy on what truly matters. In this quiet, they develop clarity, resilience, and a level of wisdom that only time alone can foster. Self-awareness. Self-awareness is the cornerstone of personal strength, and for those who prefer their own company, it becomes a natural and profound part of who they are. These individuals spend time reflecting, analyzing, and understanding themselves in ways that most people never take the time to do. They know what drives them, what inspires them, and what holds them back. Every choice they make is informed by an intimate knowledge of their own values, beliefs, and priorities. Unlike those who constantly seek external approval or guidance, they trust their inner voice, and this trust allows them to navigate life with confidence and clarity. Being self-aware isn't just about knowing your strengths, it's about recognizing your weaknesses, limitations, and patterns without judgment. People who spend time alone are often more honest with themselves because there's no one around to impress, distract, or influence them. They sit with their thoughts, confront uncomfortable truths, and challenge themselves to grow. This kind of introspection can be uncomfortable at first, but it's precisely what builds resilience. It teaches them to own their experiences, learn from mistakes, and understand their emotions at a deep level. Self-awareness also gives them a remarkable ability to read situations and people accurately. Because they've spent so much time understanding themselves, they can often sense when something is out of alignment, whether it's in their own life or in interactions with others. They don't rely on assumptions or superficial impressions. They observe, reflect, and respond with intention. This makes them perceptive, thoughtful, and strategic, qualities that are invaluable in every area of life, from personal relationships to professional decisions. Moreover, self-aware individuals are acutely aware of their boundaries and their personal needs. They understand the importance of protecting their time, energy, and mental space. They know when to say no, when to step back, and when to engage, and they do so without guilt or hesitation. This level of awareness fosters respect from others, not because they demand it, but because they embody a quiet authority and self-possession that naturally commands attention. Those who are self-aware also cultivate emotional intelligence in ways that social chatter cannot teach. By observing their own reactions, moods, and triggers, they gain insight into how emotions influence behavior. They become skilled at managing stress, controlling impulses, and responding thoughtfully rather than reacting instinctively. This doesn't mean they are devoid of feelings. Rather, they understand the power of emotions and use them as a guide, not a master. Their stability and calm presence make them anchors in situations where chaos or conflict might overwhelm others. Self-awareness extends into their vision for life as well. People who cherish solitude spend time clarifying their goals, dreams, and personal mission. They don't simply drift through life following the crowd. They make deliberate choices that align with their authentic selves. This focus comes from their ability to reflect deeply on what matters, to distinguish between transient desires and enduring values, and to pursue growth and fulfillment on their own terms. Self-awareness nurtures a profound sense of freedom. When you truly understand who you are, what you want, and what you will tolerate, you no longer need constant guidance, reassurance, or validation from others. Solitude becomes a source of empowerment rather than loneliness. They discover that the answers they seek most often lie within, not in the approval or opinions of the world around them. By embracing self-awareness, they build a foundation of confidence, discernment, and strength that informs every action, interaction, and decision they make, creating a life of intention, purpose, and quiet authority. Independence. Independence is one of the defining traits of those who prefer their own company, and it goes far beyond simply doing things alone. It's a mindset, a way of navigating life where decisions are made from a place of self-trust rather than seeking constant approval or validation from others. These individuals understand that their choices, actions, and paths are ultimately their own responsibility. They embrace the freedom that comes from relying on themselves, and they thrive in situations where they can think, act, and lead without interference. Independence, for them, is not isolation. It's empowerment. People who value their own company cultivate the courage to make decisions even when the world is uncertain. They don't wait for someone to tell them what is right or acceptable, and they don't feel compelled to conform to societal pressures. Whether it's a career move, a personal choice, or a strategic decision, they rely on their own judgment and instincts. This self-reliance builds an inner strength that becomes evident in every aspect of their lives, from how they interact with others to how they handle challenges. Others might see their independence as aloofness or stubbornness, but in truth, it is a deliberate and disciplined way of approaching life. Independence also means that they are not easily swayed by popular opinion or fleeting trends. They are grounded in their values, and their actions reflect their principles rather than the desire to please or impress. This steadfastness gives them a clarity of purpose that many people envy. By making decisions independently, they avoid the distraction of constant external input, allowing them to focus on what truly matters and invest their energy in pursuits that align with their personal goals. Moreover, independence cultivates accountability. Because they rely on themselves, they learn to take full responsibility for both successes and failures. Mistakes are not excuses to blame others. They are opportunities to reflect, learn, and grow. This level of accountability builds resilience, confidence, and a sense of ownership over one's life that cannot be manufactured through dependence on others. It is in these quiet, solitary moments of reflection that they refine their strategies, sharpen their skills, and strengthen their character. Independence also fosters creativity and innovation. When left to their own devices, individuals who value solitude can explore ideas without judgment or interference. They have the mental space to experiment, to fail without fear, and to innovate in ways that groupthink or social pressure often stifles. Their independent mindset encourages bold thinking, strategic planning, and the courage to pursue unconventional paths, knowing that their worth and success are not dictated by others. At the same time, their independence does not mean they are disconnected from relationships or incapable of collaboration. Instead, they choose partnerships and interactions deliberately, engaging with people who add value or share mutual respect. They do not cling to relationships for validation. They build connections from a place of strength, knowing that their personal power and identity remain intact regardless of others' approval. Ultimately, independence becomes a source of inner peace. They are free from the constant need for reassurance, free from the anxieties of trying to meet external expectations, and free to pursue a life that is fully their own. In this freedom, they cultivate clarity, confidence, and a quiet authority that is both magnetic and inspiring. Independence is not merely a trait. It is a deliberate practice of living authentically, of honoring one's judgment, and of moving through the world with the unshakable belief that they are capable of navigating life on their own terms. Emotional stability. Emotional stability is one of the most powerful qualities cultivated by those who prefer their own company, and it often goes unnoticed by the outside world. While many people are tossed around by moods, opinions, and the constant demands of social interaction, these individuals maintain a quiet, steady center. They have learned to observe their emotions without being ruled by them, to process feelings instead of reacting impulsively, and to navigate life with a calm composure that others often mistake for detachment. This stability is not innate. It is forged through intentional self-reflection, solitude, and a deep understanding of oneself. People who value their own company understand that emotions are signals, not commands. They take the time to identify what they are truly feeling, why it arises, and how it aligns with their values and goals. By doing this consistently, they build a level of emotional intelligence that allows them to respond thoughtfully rather than react rashly. They know that temporary discomfort, frustration, or anger does not need to dictate permanent decisions. Instead, they use these emotions as tools for insight, learning, and growth. This approach not only enhances their mental clarity, but also strengthens their resilience against external chaos. Because they are not dependent on others for validation, their sense of stability comes from within. They are less likely to be swayed by gossip, criticism, or the highs and lows of social drama. This inner steadiness allows them to maintain focus on long-term goals, to handle challenges with poise, and to engage with the world on their own terms. People who spend time alone often discover that their confidence is reinforced not by the approval of others, but by the trust they place in their own judgment and the clarity of their internal compass. Emotional stability also makes them profoundly reliable and trustworthy. Friends, colleagues, and even strangers often sense this calm presence and are drawn to it. When others are overwhelmed by stress or reacting emotionally, those who are emotionally stable provide a sense of balance and perspective. Their ability to manage themselves under pressure creates a quiet authority that commands respect without demanding it, and it positions them as leaders in both subtle and visible ways. Solitude is a key factor in developing this stability. By spending time alone, these individuals have the opportunity to process experiences fully, examine their reactions, and consider alternative approaches without outside influence. They can explore their vulnerabilities without fear of judgment, and in doing so, they gain mastery over their own emotional landscape. This introspective practice fosters patience, measured responses, and the ability to see situations clearly even when emotions are running high. Moreover, emotional stability allows them to navigate relationships and social interactions with discernment. They are able to engage with empathy without being consumed by others' feelings or drama. They maintain their composure even when others are reactive, and they can communicate with clarity, assertiveness, and respect. This skill not only protects their own well-being, but also enables them to influence situations positively, turning conflict into understanding and tension into resolution. Emotional stability becomes a defining aspect of their character. It allows them to live intentionally, make decisions from a place of clarity rather than fear, and carry themselves with a quiet, unwavering confidence. They are not impervious to emotion, but they have learned to harness it, to allow it to inform their choices without controlling them. Through solitude, reflection, and self-awareness, they cultivate a resilience that becomes second nature, a stability that is both grounding for themselves and inspiring to those around them. Deep thinking. Deep thinking is a hallmark of those who value their own company, and it is a quality that sets them apart in ways that are often invisible but profoundly impactful. While many people rush from one distraction to the next, these individuals take the time to slow down, reflect, and examine their thoughts with intention. They engage with life at a deeper level, considering not just what is immediately in front of them, but the underlying patterns, causes, and consequences of every situation. Their minds are not cluttered with superficial noise. Instead, they are a fertile ground for insight, strategy, and clarity. Those who spend time alone develop the ability to process complex ideas and emotions without the interference of external pressures. They can weigh pros and cons, anticipate challenges, and plan several steps ahead because they have learned to trust their own reasoning and intuition. This form of internal dialogue sharpens their problem-solving skills, allowing them to approach life with precision and confidence. They are not impulsive decision-makers. They consider options carefully, reflect on past experiences, and extract lessons that inform their future actions. This capacity for deep analysis enables them to make choices that are aligned with their long-term vision rather than short-term gratification. Deep thinking also nurtures creativity in ways that are often underappreciated. By spending time in solitude, these individuals give their minds the space to explore ideas freely without the fear of judgment or interruption. They are able to connect disparate concepts, imagine possibilities that others overlook, and generate solutions that are both innovative and practical. The quiet of their own company becomes a laboratory for intellectual exploration, where reflection and imagination intersect to produce original ideas. In a world where superficial engagement is celebrated, their ability to think profoundly becomes a rare and invaluable strength. Moreover, deep thinking strengthens self-understanding and emotional intelligence. By reflecting on their experiences, motivations, and reactions, they gain insight into who they are and why they behave the way they do. This introspection allows them to recognize recurring patterns, understand their triggers, and make conscious choices rather than being driven by habit or external influence. In essence, they are not only analyzing the world around them, but also their place within it, which cultivates a sense of purpose and direction. The ability to think deeply also enhances their capacity for empathy and perspective-taking. When they engage with complex ideas, they are able to step outside their own immediate viewpoint and consider multiple perspectives, which fosters understanding and compassion in their interactions with others. Yet even as they consider others, they do not lose themselves. Their reflection is anchored in self-awareness and a clear sense of values. This balance between introspection and outward consideration allows them to navigate relationships with wisdom, patience, and insight, making their presence both reassuring and inspiring. In addition, deep thinkers who enjoy solitude often develop resilience and strategic foresight. By examining past mistakes and successes with honesty and nuance, they learn how to adapt, anticipate challenges, and make informed choices in the future. They are less likely to be caught off guard by unforeseen circumstances because they have spent time imagining possibilities, weighing outcomes, and preparing for contingencies. Their lives are not reactive. They are deliberate, informed, and intentional, reflecting the depth of thought they invest in every decision. Deep thinking becomes a defining feature of their character. It allows them to navigate life with clarity, intelligence, and focus. They are not swayed by superficial opinions or fleeting trends because their perspective is grounded in reflection and understanding. Their minds become their greatest tool, a source of insight, creativity, and strategic vision that guides their actions with precision and purpose. In embracing the power of their own thoughts, they cultivate a life of depth, intentionality, and quiet, unwavering strength. Selective social energy. Selective social energy is a subtle but powerful quality that defines those who prefer their own company. While society often equates being busy with being social, those who value solitude understand that time and energy are finite resources, not to be squandered on meaningless interactions. They are deliberate in choosing whom to engage with, recognizing that not every conversation, event, or connection is worthy of their attention. This discernment allows them to preserve their focus, maintain emotional balance, and invest deeply in relationships that are mutually respectful, enriching, and aligned with their values. People who embrace selective social energy do not seek popularity or superficial approval. They understand that a wide circle of acquaintances often comes at the cost of depth and authenticity. Instead, they cultivate relationships with individuals who challenge them, inspire them, and respect their boundaries. Every interaction is intentional. They enter conversations with purpose and leave environments that drain them with grace and composure. By carefully managing their social energy, they ensure that their presence is meaningful, their contributions are impactful, and their emotional reserves remain intact for the pursuits and people that truly matter. This approach also reflects a profound understanding of personal boundaries. They know that their time, attention, and energy are not infinite, and they refuse to allow others to monopolize these resources unnecessarily. By being selective, they maintain control over their environment and protect themselves from people who may be draining, toxic, or misaligned with their goals. Their choices are rooted not in judgment or arrogance, but in self-respect and strategic thinking. They are fully aware that saying no is not rejection. It is an affirmation of their priorities and a commitment to living with intentionality. Selective social energy is also deeply tied to focus and productivity. By avoiding distractions in the form of shallow interactions, they create mental space for reflection, learning, and creative exploration. Solitude becomes a tool for sharpening the mind and aligning actions with purpose, while their selective engagement ensures that social interactions add value rather than deplete it. In this way, their social life functions as a curated environment where every connection serves a purpose, from intellectual stimulation to emotional support, rather than merely filling time or seeking validation. Those who manage their social energy wisely also tend to be highly perceptive. They can intuitively recognize which interactions will uplift them, which will challenge them constructively, and which may lead to unnecessary stress or conflict. This discernment is not accidental. It is cultivated through years of observation, introspection, and experience. By carefully evaluating the dynamics of relationships, they can navigate social spaces with grace, confidence, and strategic awareness. Others may misunderstand their selectivity as aloofness, but in truth, it is a conscious and disciplined practice of maintaining clarity, balance, and focus. Furthermore, selective social energy allows them to build deeper, more meaningful connections. Rather than scattering their attention across many superficial acquaintances, they invest in a few relationships that matter. These connections are rich with trust, respect, and mutual growth. People in their circle understand that interactions are not trivial. They are intentional, thoughtful, and rooted in authenticity. This level of engagement fosters loyalty, intimacy, and mutual support that superficial socializing rarely achieves. Selective social energy becomes a form of empowerment. It teaches patience, discernment, and self-respect. By choosing where, when, and with whom to spend their time, individuals cultivate a life that reflects their values, priorities, and purpose. They are not driven by the expectations or whims of others. Instead, they navigate their social world strategically, ensuring that every interaction strengthens rather than depletes them. Their approach exemplifies a quiet authority, an intelligent self-discipline, and a profound respect for the value of their own energy and time. Creativity and productivity. Creativity and productivity are often deeply intertwined for those who cherish their own company, and solitude becomes the secret catalyst that allows both to flourish. While many people associate being busy with constant interaction or external stimulation, those who spend time alone know that true innovation requires focus, uninterrupted reflection, and the freedom to explore ideas without judgment. In these quiet moments, their minds are able to wander, connect seemingly unrelated concepts, and envision solutions that others might never see. Solitude is not emptiness for them. It is fertile ground where thoughts are nurtured, refined, and transformed into tangible results. People who value their own company understand that productivity is not measured solely by activity, but by meaningful output. They are able to dive deeply into projects, exploring nuances, anticipating obstacles, and developing strategies with precision. Without the distraction of constant social noise, they achieve a level of concentration that allows them to work efficiently and thoughtfully. Their creativity is enhanced because they have the mental space to experiment, take risks, and allow inspiration to emerge naturally rather than being forced by external pressures. Solitude also nurtures originality. When they are alone, they are free to think beyond conventional boundaries, question assumptions, and challenge the status quo. Ideas are not diluted by the need for immediate validation or approval from others, which means that their innovations often carry a distinct perspective. boldness, and authenticity. By embracing quiet reflection, they cultivate an internal laboratory for experimentation where creativity and productivity coexist in harmony, each fueling the other. Those who thrive in their own company also understand the importance of pacing and prioritization. They do not overextend themselves trying to meet everyone else's expectations, nor do they chase constant social recognition. Instead, they focus on projects and pursuits that align with their purpose, investing their energy where it will have the greatest impact. This selective focus enhances both their output and the quality of their work. Every task, every idea, every effort is intentional, grounded in clarity and long-term vision rather than fleeting trends or external pressures. Creativity in solitude is not limited to artistic or intellectual pursuits. It also manifests in problem-solving, strategic thinking, and innovation in everyday life. People who are comfortable with themselves develop the patience to explore different approaches, weigh consequences, and refine ideas until they reach their fullest potential. Productivity becomes a natural byproduct of this disciplined approach. Time spent alone is never wasted because it is dedicated to thoughtful reflection, planning, and execution. Moreover, the connection between solitude and creativity fosters resilience. When challenges arise or projects face setbacks, those who have cultivated focus and originality in their own company are equipped to adapt, pivot, and innovate without being destabilized by external pressures. They have learned to trust their own judgment and rely on their internal resources, which allows them to remain productive even in the face of obstacles. Their work is marked by consistency, intentionality, and depth because it is born from a space of clarity and self-directed energy. In essence, creativity and productivity are amplified when nurtured in solitude. The quiet space of one's own company provides the freedom to explore, experiment, and execute with intention. In this environment, ideas are allowed to grow, strategies are thoughtfully implemented, and personal excellence becomes the natural outcome of focused reflection and deliberate effort. They understand that the time they spend alone is an investment, a foundation upon which innovation, mastery, and meaningful accomplishment are built, and this approach allows them to achieve more with depth, purpose, and authenticity than those constantly chasing external validation or superficial busyness. Confidence in solitude. Confidence in solitude is a quiet, unshakable strength that those who value their own company cultivate over time, and it is a quality that is both rare and magnetic. While many people seek validation from external sources, friends, colleagues, social media, or societal approval, those who are comfortable alone do not rely on outside affirmation to measure their worth. Their sense of value comes from within, built on self-awareness, reflection, and a deep understanding of their principles and abilities. This inner confidence allows them to navigate the world with poise, authority, and clarity, unburdened by the need to impress or conform. People who embrace solitude learn to trust themselves in ways that others rarely do. They make decisions based on thoughtful consideration rather than pressure or expectation. They are willing to stand alone when necessary, to take paths that may seem unconventional, and to pursue goals that align with their values, even if no one else is watching. This self-reliance fosters resilience and courage because they understand that their success, happiness, and fulfillment are ultimately their own responsibility. External opinions may inform them, but they do not define them. Confidence in solitude also manifests in how they interact with the world. Because they are secure in themselves, they approach relationships, work, and challenges from a position of strength rather than neediness. They are less likely to seek approval or validation from others because they already have a foundation of self-trust. This presence is both compelling and reassuring to those around them. People sense that they are grounded, steady, and capable, and they are naturally drawn to that calm authority. Unlike those who constantly seek external reassurance, they radiate a quiet certainty that inspires respect and admiration. Another dimension of this confidence is the comfort they find in their own thoughts and company. They do not fear silence, reflection, or introspection. Rather, they embrace it as an opportunity to grow, recharge, and gain clarity. While others may feel anxious or restless when alone, they see solitude as a chance to strengthen their understanding of themselves, refine their goals, and reconnect with their inner values. This ability to be content without constant external stimulation demonstrates a profound self-mastery that cannot be easily shaken. Confidence in solitude also enables them to take risks and pursue ambitions that require patience and persistence. Without the constant need for approval, they can focus on long-term objectives, experiment with new ideas, and move boldly in directions that might seem uncertain or challenging. Their self-assurance allows them to act decisively, knowing that setbacks or criticism do not diminish their worth or capability. Each step they take is measured, deliberate, and informed by their inner compass, not by the fluctuating opinions of the crowd. Those who cultivate confidence in solitude possess a strength that is both empowering and liberating. They are grounded, self-reliant, and resilient, capable of navigating challenges with clarity and calm. This inner fortitude transforms solitude from a state of isolation into a space of empowerment where self-trust and personal authority flourish, enabling them to live authentically, act intentionally, and face the world with unwavering confidence. Strong boundaries. Strong boundaries are one of the most defining traits of those who prefer their own company, and they are both a reflection of self-respect and a strategic approach to life. People who spend time alone understand the importance of protecting their energy, time, and mental space. They recognize that not every request, demand, or expectation deserves their attention, and they are willing to say no when something does not align with their values or priorities. Establishing boundaries is not about shutting people out. It is about creating clarity, maintaining focus, and preserving the quality of their life. Those with strong boundaries are deliberate about the relationships they nurture. They engage deeply with individuals who respect their limits and add value to their lives, while avoiding those who drain them emotionally or mentally. By doing so, they maintain a balanced environment that fosters growth, creativity, and well-being. They do not apologize for asserting their needs or protecting their personal space because they understand that self-respect is non-negotiable. Their boundaries communicate a quiet authority. People instinctively know that these individuals are intentional about how they live and interact, and they respect that. Boundaries also extend into decision-making and daily habits. People who value solitude do not allow outside pressures to dictate their choices. They prioritize what is meaningful, and they allocate their energy wisely, ensuring that their actions align with long-term goals rather than fleeting demands. This ability to differentiate between what deserves attention and what does not strengthens their focus, reduces stress, and increases productivity. Every no they offer is an affirmation of their priorities and an investment in their own growth and stability. In addition, strong boundaries foster emotional resilience. By clearly defining what is acceptable and what is not, they prevent unnecessary conflict, manipulation, or emotional exhaustion. They understand that protecting themselves is not selfish. It is a necessary practice to maintain clarity, stability, and authenticity. This clarity also empowers them to navigate relationships and social situations with confidence and composure, ensuring that they interact from strength rather than compromise. Ultimately, strong boundaries are an expression of self-mastery. They allow individuals to maintain control over their lives, focus on what matters most, and cultivate an environment where personal and professional growth can thrive. In solitude, boundaries are not restrictions. They are the framework that supports freedom, intentionality, and resilience, enabling these individuals to move through the world with confidence and purpose. Learning to embrace your own company is one of the most transformative decisions you can make. Yet, it requires intentional practice and self-awareness. Many people feel guilty or anxious when they spend time alone, but solitude is not a punishment. It is an opportunity to recharge, reflect, and grow. Start by giving yourself permission to enjoy quiet moments without distraction. Allow yourself to explore your thoughts, your passions, and your goals, recognizing that this time is an investment in your clarity and self-understanding. Using solitude intentionally also means observing how you spend your energy. People who thrive in their own company are mindful of the people and situations they engage with. Not every interaction deserves equal attention, and not every request or expectation must be met. By carefully selecting where and with whom you spend your energy, you preserve your focus and prevent emotional exhaustion. This practice is not selfish, it is strategic, allowing you to prioritize meaningful relationships and endeavors that align with your values. Solitude can also serve as a powerful tool for growth, both mentally and emotionally. Use time alone to reflect on your experiences, set personal goals, and consider your next steps with intention. Journaling, meditation, or simply sitting quietly with your thoughts can provide profound insights into your patterns, strengths, and areas for improvement. Over time, this self-reflection strengthens your judgment, resilience, and confidence, making you less reliant on external validation and more attuned to your inner compass. Finally, cultivating this mindset requires discernment in the people you allow into your life. Avoid those who drain your energy, disregard your boundaries, or consistently demand more than they give. Prioritize interactions that uplift, challenge, and inspire you, and recognize that saying no is not rejection. It is a declaration of your self-respect and your commitment to growth. Through these practices, solitude becomes a tool for empowerment, focus, and intentional living, creating a foundation for strength and clarity in every aspect of life. Preferring your own company is not a flaw, nor is it a sign of weakness. It is a choice, a deliberate, empowering decision to invest in yourself, to understand your own mind, and to cultivate a life that is aligned with your values. In a world that constantly tells us to be louder, busier, and more connected, choosing solitude requires courage. It requires the willingness to stand apart, to trust your instincts, and to embrace the quiet power that comes from knowing who you are and what you stand for. Those who master the art of being alone discover an extraordinary freedom, a freedom that cannot be given by anyone else but yourself. When you become comfortable with solitude, you tap into a well of strength that most people never even realize exists. You begin to rely on internal validation rather than external applause. You make decisions that are grounded in clarity, not anxiety. You cultivate resilience in the face of challenges, patience in moments of uncertainty, and confidence that is rooted not in comparison, but in self-knowledge. Every time you spend time with yourself, you are sharpening your focus, refining your purpose, and fortifying your emotional and mental capacity. This is the kind of power that cannot be borrowed, cannot be faked, and cannot be undermined by the opinions of others. Being comfortable alone also allows you to live intentionally. You begin to prioritize your energy, your time, and your relationships with a level of precision that many never achieve. You understand the value of saying no without guilt, of walking away from what does not serve you, and of dedicating your attention to what truly matters. This intentionality becomes a magnet for growth, opportunity, and meaningful connection. People are drawn to your calm authority, your unshakable composure, and the quiet confidence that radiates from someone who knows their worth and honors their boundaries. Solitude becomes a laboratory for self-mastery. In this space, you explore your thoughts, your dreams, and your fears. You experiment with ideas, reflect on your actions, and learn to navigate life with a steady mind and an unwavering heart. Creativity flourishes, productivity soars, and clarity emerges. The moments that might have been lonely for others become transformative for you. You develop insight, strategic thinking, and emotional depth that not only shape your life, but inspire others around you without a word being spoken. Ultimately, choosing to prefer your own company is a declaration. It is a statement that you value yourself enough to prioritize growth, understanding, and authenticity. It is a recognition that true strength is not measured by how many people surround you, but by how fully you can stand alone, grounded in your values, confident in your abilities, and at peace with your own mind. The more time you spend cultivating this inner power, the more unstoppable you become. The world cannot define you, the chaos cannot unsettle you, and the doubts of others cannot shake you. You have discovered a superpower that many will never recognize, yet it is yours entirely, and it grows stronger every time you choose yourself, every time you embrace the quiet, and every time you honor the incredible strength that comes from being fully, unapologetically alone.